Ladies and gentlemen, the morning sun streamed through the large windows of Kelly Ripa's Connecticut home, bathing the kitchen in a warm, golden glow. The aroma of freshly brewed coffee filled the air, mingling with the faint scent of cinnamon from the muffins she had baked the night before. But despite the calm beauty of the morning, an invisible weight hung heavily over Kelly, pressing on her chest, making each breath feel like an effort. She stirred her coffee absent-mindedly, her eyes unfocused as memories of the past few months flooded her mind. The laughter of her children, the playful banter with Mark, the countless hours spent working on Live with Kelly and Ryan, all of it now seemed suspended in a fragile bubble, a stark contrast to the storm that had entered their lives unannounced. Mark Consuelos, her husband, her partner in every sense of the word, was fighting cancer. The words were simple, clinical even, but their weight was unbearable. Diagnosis, chemotherapy, tumor, survival rate. Each term echoed in her mind like a relentless drumbeat, reminding her that life, as she knew it, had changed forever. Kelly had always been the picture of composure on screen, vibrant, witty, and unshakably cheerful. But in the private corners of her home, she allowed herself the raw vulnerability that the world never saw. And now, sitting at her kitchen table, Kelly felt the cracks in her armor widen. Her phone buzzed, breaking the heavy silence. It was a message from a close friend. "Thinking of you. We're here if you need anything." Kelly smiled faintly, grateful for the support. Yet a part of her recoiled. How could anyone truly understand the fear that gnawed at her heart? The terror that the man she had built her life around might not come back from this. The decision to speak publicly was not an easy one. Kelly had spent countless nights pacing the length of her living room, debating whether to share this intimate battle with the world. Fame had its perks, but it also magnified every moment of vulnerability. But Kelly knew that silence was no longer an option. The truth had a way of finding its voice, whether she wanted it to or not. One evening, after putting her children to bed, Kelly sat down in her favorite armchair, a soft blanket draped over her knees. She dialed her producer at Live and requested a private segment, one that would allow her to speak openly. The following morning, with the cameras rolling and the studio lights casting a warm glow, Kelly looked into the lens, her eyes glistening with emotion. "Good morning, everyone," she began, her voice trembling slightly. "I usually come here to make you laugh, to share fun stories, and celebrate life's little moments, but today, I need to be honest with you." A hush fell over the studio. The crew, well aware of the personal nature of this segment, remained silent. Kelly took a deep breath, steadying herself. "Mark, my husband, my best friend, my partner in every sense of the word, he's been diagnosed with cancer," she confessed, her voice cracking. "These past few months have been some of the hardest of our lives. I won't lie. There have been moments when I felt completely helpless, moments when fear consumed me and I couldn't imagine how we'd get through this." Tears streamed down her cheeks, glistening under the studio lights. "But Mark is strong. He's fighting every single day with courage I can hardly put into words. And I want everyone to know that love truly can be the greatest force in the world. It's keeping us going, even on the darkest days." Her words hung in the air, heavy with truth. The audience sat in stunned silence, many wiping away their own tears. This was not the playful, charismatic Kelly Ripa they were used to seeing. This was a woman laid bare, a wife sharing the heart-wrenching reality of watching the person she loved most fight for his life. At home, the reality was even more intense. Mark, ever the stoic presence, tried to mask his fear behind humor and determination. But Kelly knew him too well. She had seen the sleepless nights, the moments when he stared blankly at the ceiling, the exhaustion etched in every line of his face. They had cried together, clung to each other in silence, and whispered reassurances that neither of them entirely believed. There were days when hope felt like a fragile thread, fraying with every hospital visit, every test. every setback. Yet even in the darkness, there were moments of light. Mark would hold Kelly's hand, whispering, "We've got this. I'm not going anywhere." And in those moments, Kelly's heart would swell with a fierce, unyielding love. She would brush a strand of hair from his face, press her lips to his forehead, and silently vow to fight alongside him no matter what lay ahead. Kelly began documenting their journey in private journals, pouring their fears, hopes, and prayers onto paper. It was a form of therapy, a way to make sense of the chaos swirling around them. She wrote about the quiet moments, the laughter over a burnt dinner, the gentle teasing in bed, the small victories in treatment that reminded her that life, even in its most painful form, was still worth celebrating. As word of their struggle spread among friends and fans, Kelly and Mark were overwhelmed by an outpouring of love and support. Messages, flowers, and gestures of support flooded their home. People they had never met shared their own stories of fighting cancer, offering advice, hope, and solidarity. Kelly found herself moved by the kindness of strangers, realizing that while the disease had entered their lives, it could never touch the core of what made them resilient. Love, connection, and community provided a lifeline in moments when despair threatened to engulf them. One afternoon, as she sat in the garden watching the sunlight dance on the leaves, Kelly received a call from a young fan who had also battled cancer. Their words were simple, yet profound. "If Mark can fight, so can I. And if you can be strong for him, so can we for each other." Kelly clutched the phone to her chest, tears spilling freely. It was a reminder that their story, as painful as it was, could inspire courage and hope in others. And in that moment, she felt a renewed determination to keep sharing, to keep loving, and to keep fighting. When Kelly returned to the studio for her next segment, she carried with her the raw strength of a woman who had faced fear head-on. Her message was no longer just a confession. It was a beacon of hope. "Life can change in an instant," she said, her voice steady but full of emotion. "We don't know what tomorrow will bring, but we do know this. Love is stronger than fear. Hope is stronger than despair. And together, we can face anything." She smiled, a fragile but genuine smile. "Mark is my hero, and I am proud to stand by him every single day. And to anyone out there fighting your own battles, know that you are not alone. There is strength in vulnerability and courage in asking for help. And above all, there is love, unshakable, unending love that can guide us through even the darkest nights." The audience erupted in applause, some standing, some crying, all moved by her honesty. Kelly felt a weight lift from her shoulders, not because the struggle was over, but because she had embraced it, spoken it aloud, and in so doing, found a sense of peace. If you've been moved by this story, please subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell so you don't miss future updates on Mark Consuelos and other important stories. And in the comments below, share your messages of love and encouragement for Mark and Kelly.